Ancient texts, specifically fragments from the Book of Enoch, provide historical accounts. These texts describe a pivotal event where the boundary between celestial and earthly realms was crossed. This transgression introduced an unnatural element into the course of human history. The event signifies a significant alteration in the established order of existence. The narrative of the Nephilim is a mysterious and ancient account. For centuries, this story was largely preserved in forgotten manuscripts. It was primarily a subject of discussion among scholars and theologians. Despite its historical confinement, the Nephilim narrative continues to intrigue. Modern readers still pose questions regarding its meaning and implications. A central question arises regarding the nature of angels. If angels are spiritual beings, their ability to produce physical offspring is paradoxical. This concept challenges conventional understandings of angelic existence. It raises fundamental questions about their form and capabilities. The Book of Enoch introduces a celestial group known as the Watchers. These beings were initially assigned a divine role to observe humanity. Their descent to Earth marked a pivotal moment in the narrative. This event is depicted as a significant turning point in ancient lore. The Watchers' actions profoundly impacted the course of human history within the text. Ancient traditions recount the existence of celestial beings known as Watchers. These Watchers were said to possess a specific, original purpose or mission. However, an unexpected event occurred during their descent to the earthly realm. This event significantly altered their initial objectives and roles. Their presence initiated a profound and unprecedented interaction with humanity. This interaction marked a pivotal moment in the narratives of ancient lore. Ancient texts describe the arrival of entities known as the Watchers. Their arrival point was specifically identified as the region of Mount Hermon. Mount Hermon is a location rich in symbolic significance in these narratives. The mountain is often depicted with towering peaks, emphasizing its grandeur. Descriptions frequently include storm-filled skies, suggesting a dramatic atmosphere. This imagery underscores the importance and mystique surrounding the Watchers' descent. Radiant beings are described as gathering in secret. Their assembly occurs beneath the cover of clouds. This setting signifies the clandestine nature of their meeting. The gathering indicates their impending actions. The secrecy suggests a hidden purpose or mission. Ancient texts describe a pivotal moment in the narrative of the Watchers. This moment involves their transition from an ethereal state to a physical form. The Watchers' embodiment was a crucial step in their interaction with humanity. This physical manifestation allowed for direct engagement with human civilization. The concept of their physical presence is a deeply unsettling aspect of the story. It marks a significant shift in the nature of their influence and involvement. Scholars interpret certain materializations as spiritual entities. These entities temporarily assume dense human-like bodies. This process enables them to manifest in the physical realm. The assumption of a physical form allows direct interaction. They can thus engage with the physical world through these temporary bodies. Enoch is a pivotal figure in ancient religious texts, often portrayed as a visionary. He is frequently depicted as an elderly man, symbolizing wisdom and experience. Enoch's primary role is that of a chronicler, meticulously recording significant events. These records include profound visions and divine revelations he received. His writings provide the foundational account of the Watchers' actions. Enoch's chronicles are crucial for understanding the narrative of these celestial beings. The concept explores the biological feasibility of reproduction for beings adopting physical forms. This inquiry arises if such entities indeed manifest in a tangible, corporeal state. A key question is whether these assumed physical forms possess reproductive capabilities. Biological reproduction typically requires specific anatomical and physiological structures. It also necessitates complex genetic and cellular mechanisms for offspring creation. Thus, the capacity for reproduction depends on the biological design of these forms. Ancient interpretations describe the manifestation of beings known as Watchers. These accounts suggest their appearance was not merely illusory or spiritual. Instead, they possessed physical bodies with biological substance. These bodies were considered compatible with human physiological structures. This implies a profound transformation from their original state. Such interpretations highlight a significant physical embodiment of these entities. This interpretation suggests a profound connection between disparate realities. It posits an extraordinary crossing, bridging distinct realms of existence. The first realm is identified as the celestial, representing heavenly or cosmic spheres. The second realm is the terrestrial, encompassing earthly and physical existence. Such a crossing signifies a unique interaction between these two fundamental domains. Ancient narratives describe a significant event involving celestial beings and humanity. These narratives speak of entities known as Watchers. The Watchers are depicted as celestial beings, or angels. They descended to Earth and interacted with human women. This union, according to the narrative, resulted in offspring. These offspring were known as the Nephilim, a race of powerful beings. The Nephilim are depicted as towering figures, distinct from ordinary humans. These beings traversed ancient valleys, their immense stature dominating the landscape. Their extraordinary size was a defining characteristic, setting them apart. The sheer scale of the Nephilim instilled fear among the human population. They are often described in ancient texts as powerful and imposing entities. Massive silhouettes dominated the horizon, signifying a powerful presence. These colossal forms cast long, imposing shadows over the landscape. Their vast scale created a striking visual against the sky. Early civilizations observed these figures, recognizing their immense physical dominance. The shadows extended far, symbolizing their pervasive influence on ancient life. The Book of Enoch describes the Nephilim, figures of significant biblical and mythological interest. These beings are often characterized by their immense stature, being referred to as giants. However, the text indicates that their nature extended beyond mere physical size. The Nephilim possessed other distinct characteristics, highlighting their anomalous and unique existence. Certain traditions describe the Nephilim as biological anomalies. These beings are believed to be creatures resulting from a forbidden mixture. Their origin is attributed to a combination of celestial essence and human physicality. This union resulted in their unique and anomalous existence. Ancient writers encountered a profound challenge in explaining certain phenomena. A particularly disturbing possibility arose from the concept of hybrid beings. These beings combined characteristics from distinct species or entities. The very existence of such hybrids presented a significant explanatory hurdle. This concept defied conventional understanding and categorization for ancient scholars. Interpretations suggest the Watchers possessed advanced knowledge. This knowledge far exceeded early human understanding. The Watchers then imparted this advanced knowledge to humanity. This transfer of knowledge significantly influenced human development. Ancient texts describe the Watchers as entities who imparted knowledge to early humanity. These teachings encompassed a wide array of practical and esoteric disciplines. Among the practical skills taught was metallurgy, the science of working with metals. They also introduced medicine, cosmetics, and the study of celestial bodies, astrology. Furthermore, the Watchers are credited with revealing various hidden sciences to humankind. The existence of advanced knowledge in ancient civilizations prompts a critical inquiry. Specifically, it raises questions regarding their understanding and application of biological manipulation. This concept explores whether ancient societies possessed the capacity for genetic or biological engineering. Investigating this possibility requires analyzing historical records and archaeological evidence for clues. Historians analyze ancient texts to understand past knowledge and observations. Ancient authors describe phenomena using the vocabulary available in their era. They may have lacked specific terms for complex processes like genetic alteration. Therefore, ancient descriptions might refer to processes we now understand differently. This process would have fundamentally altered human genetics. Such changes were beyond the comprehension of early civilizations. These genetic alterations would have led to the birth of unprecedented offspring. The resulting new generations would possess traits previously unknown to humanity. Ancient accounts describe women in early settlements selected for childbearing. These women were chosen to carry offspring of an unprecedented nature. The resulting births were unlike anything humanity had previously witnessed. This phenomenon generated widespread fear and hushed whispers among the populace. Certain traditions describe the births of hybrid beings. These accounts often emphasize the unusual difficulty of such gestations. The challenging nature of these births highlights their unnatural aspect. This underscores the inherent complexities and struggles associated with hybrid development. The Nephilim were a distinct class of beings, resulting from specific unions. These beings exhibited an accelerated growth rate from an early stage of life. They quickly attained immense physical stature, significantly exceeding ordinary human height. This rapid development established their physical dominance over the human population. Their towering presence was a defining characteristic, evident early in their existence. Ancient communities were often terrified by the presence of giants, creatures of immense stature. The sheer height of these beings alone instilled profound fear and awe among early civilizations. However, their physical size was not the sole source of the widespread terror they inspired. The behavior attributed to these giants also proved to be deeply disturbing to ancient peoples. This combination of imposing stature and unsettling actions contributed to their fearsome reputation. The Book of Enoch describes the Nephilim as beings with extraordinary physical characteristics. A notable aspect of their existence was their immense dietary requirements. They consumed vast quantities of food, far exceeding human needs. This consumption pattern indicated an insatiable appetite among the Nephilim. Their excessive eating habits placed significant strain on available resources. This aspect highlights the destructive impact of the Nephilim on their environment. Early human societies faced significant challenges in sustaining themselves. The consumption patterns of certain entities led to widespread resource depletion. Entire harvests, crucial for survival, were completely consumed. Livestock, a vital source of food and labor, also vanished. This illustrates the severe and devastating impact on their food supply. Such consumption patterns posed an existential threat to early human communities. Human settlements experienced a widespread increase in violence. This escalation was directly attributed to the Nephilim. Their destructive behavior was a primary cause of the unrest. The overwhelming presence of the Nephilim further exacerbated the situation. Ancient texts reveal a historical perspective on humanity's relationship with various beings. These writings describe a profound sense of being overwhelmed by certain creatures. The creatures were characterized by their indeterminate nature. Not fully human, they were also not fully divine, occupying a liminal space between categories. This ambiguity created a sense of unease and difficulty in classification. Such portrayals reflect ancient societies' attempts to comprehend the unknown and the extraordinary. A critical question arises regarding the Watcher's actions. Why would they risk a forbidden act? This act carries severe consequences. Understanding their motivation is crucial. Some traditions describe beings who chose to descend from their original state. This descent involved direct interaction with humanity. Their decision to engage with the human realm carried profound consequences. It is believed this act sealed their destiny forever. This represents an irreversible commitment, marking their fate as unchangeable. The narrative describes a gathering of 200 watchers on Mount Hermon. These watchers convened with a specific, collective intent. Before their descent, they swore a binding oath among themselves. This oath signified a deliberate and unified commitment to a transgression. Their actions represent a conscious and organized act of disobedience. An oath, once made, signifies a profound and binding commitment. This act establishes a point of no return for those involved. It fundamentally alters their celestial status, marking a permanent change. The oath also dictates their earthly involvement, making it irreversible. There is no possibility of reversal or retraction once the oath is sworn. This principle highlights the gravity and finality of such sacred commitments. Scholars interpret a pivotal moment as a fundamental change in nature. This signifies a permanent alteration from an original state. The transformation is considered irreversible. It marks a departure from their initial divine condition. This concept highlights a profound and lasting shift in being. The narrative describes a union between celestial beings and human women. This union is depicted as a corrupting influence. It simultaneously affected both the celestial and terrestrial realms. This act led to widespread corruption across both spheres. The purity of a celestial realm, metaphorically referred to as heaven, was compromised. This loss of purity signifies a departure from an ideal state of order and harmony. Simultaneously, the terrestrial realm, Earth, became inundated with violence. This violence was accompanied by widespread distortion, indicating a corruption of natural forms and processes. These parallel degradations illustrate the extensive negative consequences stemming from specific actions. The concept of corrupted bloodlines refers to a disturbing idea within certain narratives. It posits the existence of a genetic contamination affecting the human population. This contamination is often depicted as spreading through hereditary means. The idea implies a degradation or impurity within the genetic makeup of individuals. Such concepts frequently appear in fictional works or historical ideologies. It suggests an inherent flaw passed down through generations, impacting lineage. Ancient interpretations describe a significant shift in the human population's nature. This change was attributed to the spread of Nephilim blood through successive generations. The concept suggests a dilution or alteration of human genetic purity. Such narratives often appear in various mythological and religious texts. These accounts explore themes of lineage, corruption, and divine intervention. The interpretations highlight a perceived loss of original human characteristics. Noah is a significant and mysterious figure in biblical narratives. He is described in Scripture as being perfect in his generations. This phrase has been subject to various scholarly interpretations. Some scholars interpret perfect in his generations as referring to Noah's uncorrupted lineage. Interpretations suggest Noah represented a distinct human lineage. This lineage was believed to be untouched by a specific hybrid corruption. The concept of hybrid corruption implies a deviation from an original human form. Noah's uniqueness stemmed from his uncorrupted genetic or spiritual state. These interpretations highlight Noah as one of the last pure human lines. The traditional interpretation of the flood narrative often centers on divine punishment. This punishment is typically understood as a response to widespread moral evil. However, an alternative perspective suggests a different underlying purpose for the flood. This new interpretation posits that the flood served as a biological reset. Such a reset would imply a cleansing or renewal of life on Earth. Thus, the narrative gains a dual meaning: moral consequence and biological renewal. The flood narrative can be interpreted as a profound act of biological cleansing. This event aimed to purify the Earth from pervasive biological chaos. It specifically targeted and removed hybrid corruption that had infiltrated humanity. The concept suggests an eradication of genetic or spiritual impurity within the population. This cleansing was intended to restore a perceived original order or purity. Thus, the flood serves as a metaphor for divine intervention against widespread corruption. Ancient texts frequently describe the Nephilim, figures of significant interest. These descriptions often detail their physical characteristics, which were considered disturbing. A prominent trait attributed to the Nephilim was their gigantic height. They were also consistently depicted as possessing immense strength. Furthermore, ancient readers often noted deformities in their appearance. These physical anomalies were believed to reflect their unnatural or anomalous origins. Apocryphal traditions often describe beings with unusual and terrifying characteristics. These accounts detail strange proportions, deviating from typical forms. They also highlight terrifying features that evoke fear and dread. An insatiable hunger is frequently attributed, emphasizing their monstrous nature. Interpretations suggest the Watchers did not engage in direct reproduction. Instead, they are theorized to have manipulated existing human biology. This manipulation indicates a more subtle form of intervention. Their influence was indirect, affecting biological processes rather than direct creation. Scholarly theories propose a darker interpretation of ancient narratives. These theories suggest external entities, known as Watchers, interfered with human development. The interference specifically targeted human reproduction and genetic inheritance. Watchers are believed to have manipulated the seeds of human life. This manipulation was executed through their hidden and advanced knowledge. The hypothesis implies a deliberate alteration of human genetic destiny by these entities. The concept of creating hybrids through advanced biological manipulation is explored. This differs from traditional natural reproduction methods for generating new organisms. Such manipulation involves sophisticated techniques in biological science. This idea directly relates to contemporary debates surrounding genetic engineering. It highlights the ethical and scientific implications of altering life forms.